Today we will learn about how cytotoxic T lymphocytes are activated, then how the cytotoxic T lymphocyte kill the target infected cell. T lymphocytes are mainly two types: cytotoxic T lymphocyte and helper T lymphocyte. Both of them, cytotoxic T lymphocyte and helper T lymphocyte, are developed in the bone marrow from hematopoietic stem cell. Hematopoietic stem cell. After the development, this immature T lymphocyte are navigated to the thymus gland. Here in the thymus gland, this T immature T lymphocyte are developed to either naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte or either naive helper T lymphocyte. Now, both of this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte or helper T lymphocyte are moved to the peripheral lymphoid organ rather than normal blood circulation. Except the T lymphocyte, our body also consists of different type of immune cell. For example, neutrophil or monocytes, neutrophil or dendritic cell or macrophages or B lymphocyte. All of this immune cell, it's maybe neutrophil or dendritic cell or macrophage or B lymphocyte, all of them are capable of directly act with the antigen. All of this cell directly can act on the antigen and destroy this antigen. But except T lymphocyte. T lymphocyte always require the help of antigen presenting cell. T lymphocyte can't directly bind with the antigen. T lymphocyte always require the help of antigen presenting cell. So first, any kind of antigen, first antigen presenting cell first engulf this antigen, then fragmented it or break down this antigen, then antigen presenting cell present this break or fragmented antigen towards the T lymphocyte via MHC molecule. There are different type of antigen presenting cell. For example, we will pick dendritic cell as an antigen presenting cell. If dendritic cell capture or find any kind of non-cell molecule or pathogen, then dendritic cell first engulf this pathogen, then fragmented it. Now dendritic cell travel to the peripheral lymphoid organ where this dendritic cell present this antigenic fragment to the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now dendritic cell present this antigen towards the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte via MHC class 1 molecule. This is naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. It has T cell receptor and this is an antigen presenting cell, for example dendritic cell. Now dendritic cell present the antigen via MHC class 1 molecule. But this binding is not enough to fully stimulate this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Dendritic cell requires some different molecule to completely activate this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. For example, this dendritic cell has CD80 or CD86. This bind with the CD28 on the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte activation process now initiated. Then this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte increase the expression of interleukin 2 receptor on the membrane. Actually, this interleukin 2 receptor has three components. Alpha interleukin 2 receptor has three components: alpha subunit, beta subunit and gamma subunit. Actually, the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte always express the beta and gamma subunit, but it lacks the alpha subunit. But when the dendritic cell present a antigen to the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte, then this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte increase the expression of alpha subunit and beta and gamma already expressed. Now this complete interleukin 2 receptor act. Without the alpha receptor formation, this interleukin 2 receptor is functionless. But when antigen presenting cell present a antigen to the naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte, then this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte initiate to increase the expression of alpha subunit. This alpha subunit, beta subunit and gamma subunit. Three of them make the complete interleukin 2 receptor. This naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte get interleukin 2 cytokine from the surrounding environment, and this interleukin 2 cytokine now binds with this receptor. This naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte now proliferated to precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte. This precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte are not capable of to kill a target or infected cell. Why? Because this precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte lacks the cytotoxic granules. So, first of all, naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. 2. We produce the precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now we convert this precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte into effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte, or we also call it armed cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Okay. This precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte requires the help of different cytokines. It is a precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte need the help of different cytokines like interleukin 12, interferon gamma, and other different cytokines. All of these pro-inflammatory cytokine, interleukin 12, interferon gamma, act on the precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now, this precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte initiate the formation of different cytotoxic granule inside the cytoplasm. All of these cytotoxic granule contains like perforin or granzyme A, granzyme B. When precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte complete the formation of perforin, granzyme or different cytotoxic granules, now we can call this precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte as a armed or effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte. This armed or effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte are capable to kill any kind of target cell or infected cell. When this effector or armed cytotoxic T lymphocyte are completely developed, now this effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte leave the peripheral lymphoid organ and enter into the normal blood circulation. Here, this effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte try to find any kind of non-self or foreign pathogen or infected cell. If this effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte find any kind of non-self molecule or foreign molecule, now this cytotoxic T lymphocyte bind with this foreign molecule via MHC class 1 molecule. It happened in the blood circulation. Effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte. This is the receptor, T cell receptor of the effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte. We will consider this cell as the infected target cell and this infected target cell express non-self molecule via MHC class 1. non-self antigen. But this binding is very much loose. So if at any point of time there is a Hertz blood flow, then it can easily remove this infected target cell from the affected cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now this affected cytotoxic T lymphocyte try to tightly hold this target cell so it cannot leave the affected cytotoxic T lymphocyte. So affected cytotoxic T lymphocyte bind with the infected target cell via a different receptor known as LFA1, lymphocyte function associated antigen 1, and this LFA1 bind with the target cell via ICAM1, intracellular cell adhesion molecule. When T lymphocyte receptor bind with MHC class 1 molecule and LFA1 binds with ICAM1, all of this binding create a very much strong and stable bond. Now this target cell cannot easily leave from the effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Now this effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte kill this infected target cell via any of these three mechanisms. It can release perforin or granzyme, or it can kill this infected cell via apoptosis mechanism, or this cytotoxic T lymphocyte can release different type of pro-inflammatory cytokine like interferon alpha or lymphotoxin, etc. First we will discuss the first method, perforin and granzyme mediated cytotoxicity. How this works? The effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte contains different type of cytotoxic granules. The cytotoxic granules contains perforin and granzyme. Granzyme A and granzyme B. This is the target cell. Now, when perforin is released from the effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte, this perforin insert the target cell membrane. Now, perforin form different perforin monomer form a tunnel-like structure in the target cell membrane. Now, this granzyme A and granzyme B enter inside the target cell via this perforin mediated pore. Now, granzyme A kill this target cell via a caspase independent pathway. But granzyme B choose a caspase dependent pathway. First we will learn how granzyme B destroy the target cell, then we will teach how granzyme A destroy the target cell. This is the target cell. First, granzyme B enter the target cell via perforin mediated pore. Now, granzyme B activate a pro-apoptotic protein known as PID. This activated form of PID known as T-bit or truncated bit. This T-bit then activate another two pro-apoptotic protein known as BAX and BAC. This BAX and BAC form a dimer, then this dimer rupture the mitochondrial membrane. When BAX and BAC rupture or disrupt the mitochondrial membrane, then mitochondria release a molecule known as cytochrome C. When cytochrome C present inside the mitochondrial matrix, then cytochrome C is a harmless molecule. But when cytochrome C released from the mitochondria, then cytochrome C can lead to a cell death. Now, after releasing, cytochrome C binds with another protein known as APAF1, and this complex activates a caspase known as caspase 9. This caspase 9 finally activates the executioner caspase, caspase 3 and caspase 7. These two caspase, caspase 3 and caspase 7 finally completely dismantle the target cell. It destroys the cell membrane. This caspase 3 and caspase 7 destroy the DNA. This caspase 3 and caspase 7 destroy all the different types of protein inside the cell. Ultimately, this leads to the cell death. But granzyme A choose a different pathway. How granzyme A works? Normally, inside our cell, there is an enzyme known as GAAD, granzyme A activated DNase. This GAAD enzyme actually break down the DNA. So a normal healthy cell always needs a inhibitor or blocker for GAAD enzyme. So any kind of healthy cell actually need a inhibitor of GAAD known as IgAAD. This inhibitor of GAAD, actually IgAAD, or we can call it SET complex. This IgAAD actually inhibit the GAAD enzyme. But when granzyme A enter inside the cell, this granzyme A actually break down the IgAAD or the inhibitor protein. When the inhibitor protein is destroyed, now GAAD is free to work. Now GAAD easily enter inside the nucleus and GAAD break the DNA. If cell lacks DNA, then there is no synthesis of mRNA, and if mRNA is not synthesized, then there is no synthesis of any kind of protein inside the cell, and this ultimately lead to the cell death. In this way, cytotoxic T lymphocyte release perforin and granzyme and ultimately kill the target cell. Another mechanism for the cytotoxic T lymphocyte is extrinsic apoptotic pathway. Cytotoxic T lymphocyte already consists a ligand known as FAS ligand, FAS-L. This FAS ligand bind with the target cell receptor known as FAS receptor. When the FAS ligand on the cytotoxic T lymphocyte binds with the FAS receptor over the target cell, now this FAS receptor is activated. Then a adapter protein known as FAAT, this FAAT adapter protein binds with the FAS receptor. Now this FAAT now activate a caspase enzyme, caspase 8, and this caspase enzyme finally activate the executioner caspase. This is known as caspase 3 and caspase 7. These two executioner caspase, means caspase 3 and caspase 7, completely dismantle the target cell. This caspase 3 and caspase 7 break down DNA. This caspase 3 and caspase 7 break down all the different types of protein inside our cell, inside the target cell, or different cytoskeletal molecule inside the target cell. Ultimately, it completely destroy the target cell. In this way, cytotoxic T lymphocyte first activated, then it will destroy the target cell. First, cytotoxic T lymphocyte present as naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte means this cytotoxic T lymphocyte are present mostly in the peripheral lymphoid organ, and this cell till now not exposed to any kind of antigen. Now, in the presence of interleukin 2, this naive cytotoxic T lymphocyte converted or proliferated into precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte. Then this precursor cytotoxic T lymphocyte form different type of secretory granules which consist of perforin and granzyme. Now this perforin granzyme contained cell known as armed or effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte. And this effector cytotoxic T lymphocyte kill the target cell. In this way, cytotoxic T lymphocyte completely eliminate the target cell. Thank you.